decent pen, not even a sharp pencil. I'm surrounded by nothing but incompetent, stupid, sterile stenographers.
It's difficult to imagine how the world of cinema would have been without Charlie Chaplin's genius. His iconic tramp character and witty approach to humor redefined what comedy could be in an era where movies were still a novelty. As time goes on, Chaplin's movies become increasingly meaningful, demonstrating that true comedy can be timeless. In today's list, we'll be counting the top 10 Charlie Chaplin movies of all time. Number 10. Shoulder Arms. Chaplin was no stranger to war. The actor was attacked by the British media for not enlisting to fight in the First World War. Despite what the tabloids would say about him, Chaplin and his tramp character were still beloved icons for the troops in the trenches, which only meant that his 1918 war satire, Shoulder Arms, would become an immediate success. In this film, the tramp is sent to the French front lines, where he is placed into the awkward squad. Depressed over the lack of letters from his home, the tramp manages to capture a German troop through sheer luck, proving that, in war, nothing makes sense. This short film was also directed by Chaplin, although he goes uncredited. Also starring alongside him is his older half-brother, Sidney Chaplin. Released 2 weeks and a day before the end of the First World War, it became a smashing success with returning doughboys, the American infantrymen of the time. Number 9. The Pilgrim. One of the shortest feature films of Chaplin's career, 1923's The Pilgrim is considered one of the most criminally underrated movies in his career. Perhaps because it was released at a time when the filmmaker was experimenting outside of comedy, or perhaps due to its short length, The Pilgrim is often overlooked whenever the subject of Chaplin's best works is brought into the discussion. An escaped convict named Lefty Lombard steals a minister's clothes to evade the police. What follows is a series of comedic misunderstandings that will force the clueless convict to play the part of a minister if he wishes to remain safe from the long arm of the law. Directed by and starring Chaplin, this is the last film where he would work alongside his longtime collaborator, Edna Purviance. She would appear later in some cameos in Monsieur Verdot and Limelight, but The Pilgrim marked a before and after in her working relationship with Chaplin. Number 8. The Immigrant. Written and directed by Chaplin, The Immigrant is a silent film where the tramp is portrayed as a sly immigrant trying to make sense of the American way of life. The movie begins with the tramp's bumpy steamboat ride to the New World, where he meets a woman, and the pair quickly become inseparable. Later on, in a restaurant, Chaplin and Purviance would act one of the most iconic moments in the Chaplin's career. The bean dinner scene. The tramp and his lady friend enjoy a plate of beans, one which they can't afford. Chaplin's character uses every trick in his book to save himself from the burly waiter, who is suspicious of the pair and how they're going to pay for their food. Although the film now enjoys a renewed critical approval, The Immigrant was the subject of some controversy for Chaplin. Some scenes, particularly one where he kicks an immigration officer, were considered evidence of his anti-Americanism during the 50s. Number 7. A Dog's Life. One of the tramp's most charming misadventures, A Dog's Life, features Chaplin, along with Edna Purviance, as a couple of social outcasts trying to survive the harsh reality of inner-city life. Chaplin might have top billing in A Dog's Life, but the protagonist of this story is Scraps, the tramp's loyal companion. Chaplin, always a perfectionist, paid closer attention to plot and storytelling with A Dog's Life, becoming his most polished film by then. The film gained notoriety for being the first the filmmaker would produce under contract with First National Exhibitors Circuit. This $1 million contract gave him complete creative control over every aspect of his films for the first time, cementing his reputation as a member of Hollywood's royalty. Number 6. The Circus. Although 1928's The Circus might be one of Chaplin's most lighthearted comedies, the filmmaker was going through some of the darkest moments in his life during its production. Arguably, this was the hardest movie for Chaplin, a fact that thankfully is countered by the film's critical and financial success. Chaplin reuses his tramp character, this time placing him in a circus where he accidentally becomes a clown. The circus's ringmaster soon finds that the tramp can only be funny unintentionally, much to his chagrin. All is not lost for the tramp, as he also finds the girl of his dreams among the other circus performers. Based on its troublesome production, it might seem like the circus was haunted. A fire broke at Chaplin's studios, delaying production. Additionally, the actor was going through a messy divorce at the time, and the death of his mother was the last blow to an already crestfallen Chaplin. Number 5. The Gold Rush. After the commercial failure of his first drama film, Chaplin knew he had to go big for his next movie. Taking inspiration from a photo of the 1898 Klondike Gold Rush, he set out to produce The Gold Rush, his most ambitious comedy yet. Using his tramp persona yet again, Chaplin contrasted the harsh life of gold prospectors with the buffoonery typical to his beloved character. The Gold Rush became a massive success, both with critics and at the box office. Even Chaplin himself considered the movie to be one of his greatest, claiming that it was the film for which he wanted to be remembered. The movie pioneered many things that could be considered outrageously ambitious for the time, including location shots and real live animals. It also ended up being the 5th most successful movie of the silent era, just the hit that Chaplin needed at the time. Number 4. The Kid. A desperate woman abandons her baby as she has decided to take her own life. Through a series of wacky coincidences, the baby ends up living with a tramp. 5 years later, the woman has become a successful opera singer, and the kid lives happily with the tramp. Unfortunately for them, the relationship is put in danger when the truth about the kid's origins is uncovered. The Kid marked Chaplin's debut directing a full-length film, and it ended up being a smashing success. Jackie Coogan, who plays the role of the Kid, would become one of the tramp's most easily recognizable sidekicks. Chaplin always cared for Coogan's well-being, going so far as to give him $1,000 when the actor fell in harsh financial troubles. Coogan and Chaplin's friendship behind the scenes was just as strong as it is shown in the film. Chaplin might have felt a deep connection with a child actor, seeing as his own son, Norman Spencer Chaplin, was born malformed and died only 3 days after his birth. In a way, Coogan became Chaplin's son, forming a strong bond that elevated the acting we see in The Kid. Number 3. The Great Dictator. One of Chaplin's most memorable roles is Adenoid Hinkle, a parody of Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and a warning against the dangers of the fascist regimes gaining popularity in Europe. The Great Dictator would become Chaplin's most commercially successful film, but it didn't come without some heavy controversy, especially amidst war-torn Europe. The story follows 2 characters, both of them played by Chaplin. One is the aforementioned Hinkle, a megalomaniac caricature of Hitler that, just like the German ruler, is obsessed with eradicating the Jews.
I appreciate that. When you talk to me, hail Hinkle and salute. Who are you anyway?
Meanwhile, a Jewish barber, who looks very much like Hinkle, tries to make a living in his ghetto, having to avoid the horrors of the growing Tomanian regime. The Great Dictator was the first all-talking, all-sound film in Chaplin's career, allowing him to deliver his iconic final speech. Years later, Chaplin would admit that, had he known the true extent of Hitler's war crimes, he would have never made fun of his character. The movie remained banned in Germany until 1958, with Hitler reportedly having seen it twice.
Give in the works. We put on the greatest military show the world has ever known. Convinced of my strength, Napoleon will leave the invasion of Austerlitz.
Number 2. City Lights. In this silent romantic comedy, the tramp falls in love with a blind girl. Wishing to help with her medication, the tramp establishes a turbulent friendship with an eccentric millionaire. Unfortunately for him, the millionaire only recognizes him when he's drunk, forcing the tramp to seek out dangerous jobs all across the town to help his lover. Chaplin rejected the trend of movies with sound that was all the rage those days, considering that giving the tramp a voice would limit his international appeal. He also said that he would give the talkies 3 years until they fell out of vogue, staunchly defending the mute style that gained him his international popularity. City Lights would become Chaplin's favorite film in his entire career, and it's also cited as being the favorite movie of renowned filmmaker Orson Welles. When the film premiered in Los Angeles, Chaplin invited Albert Einstein and his wife, Elsa. The German physicist was reportedly crying when the movie ended, taking Chaplin by surprise, as he didn't know that Einstein could be so sentimental. Our number 1 pick is Modern Times. 5 years after City Lights, Chaplin would finally find renewed inspiration to make a new film. During his travels, the actor noticed the dangerous effects of industrialization in impoverished workers. Thus, Modern Times was born. A witty satire of the industrial life during the Great Depression, this is the only film where the tramp is given a voice, even though he doesn't speak a single word. Contrary to some of his more lighthearted comedies, Modern Times included some heavy politicizing, a fact that affected the film's performance at the box office. At the time, Modern Times received mixed reviews, with some considering the film to be more of a propaganda piece than a comedy. However, as time went on, the movie has become celebrated as an important piece of film history. It also came out at a time when social commentary of almost any kind was seen promoting communism, something Chaplin fervently denied. Among Chaplin's fans and contemporary critics, the film is seen as one of the filmmaker's greatest, scoring an impressive Metascore of 96 on review aggregator Metacritic and a user score of 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb.com. Do you agree with our list? Be sure to comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and be the first to receive new Top 10 videos from Stream TV.